So be it, Jedi.
That's busting. What's going on, guys? Back in another video. I know people have talked to death about Anakin Skywalker, especially with the recent Star Wars Celebration exclusive Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader, Sith Apprentice, or Dark Side Anakin. Titles and names really don't matter. It is what it is. And what it is impossible for you to get. In this video, we're going to talk about the definitive Anakin Skywalker for your collection. I'm going to surprise you. So we'll talk about release order, etc., a little bit of history. We had the OG Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker, and then a short time later, they announced, what was it, a Toy Fair exclusive, Dark Side Anakin. Nobody really cared about Anakin Skywalker at that point in time. It really wasn't until after the sequel trilogy that Star Wars fans started to realize, hey, maybe the prequels ain't so bad. A few years ago, Dark Side Anakin, the OG, was selling for like $800-900. It's kind of reflective to what the artisan figures are selling for now. Flash forward a little bit, we have the Clone Wars Anakin. Pretty much just a reused Episode 3 Dark Side Anakin portrait with a little bit different hair. This was the first figure I purchased as a Hot Toys collector. And I think at the time, the Clone Wars was like just wrapping up. They had just dropped season 7 of the Clone Wars. Clone Wars hype was as high as it got, and people didn't have a Revenge of the Sith Anakin. Pick this one up. Now, for me personally, it really is only still in my collection because of Obi-Wan, because I currently have Attack of the Clones Anakin, the OG Dark Side Anakin. I mean, that's more than one is enough. And then there was the announcement of the Attack of the Clones Anakin. It's a good figure. And there was some controversy around the head sculpt, but honestly, I think it's up there with probably top 2 or 3 Anakin portraits that Hot Toys has ever done. Then we have the groundbreaking artisan Anakin, wool-rooted implantation. I mean, the prototype announcement was like the figure that got me into Hot Toys and got me looking at them. That along with Darth Sidious. The prototype was next level. I think it's almost to the point where it was so good that it transcended even what Hayden Christensen actually looked like in film and with stills and photos of him on set. If you were to take that photo and put it next to Hayden Christensen, they really wouldn't look that similar. Along with taking the prototype with the final product, there's a big discrepancy as well. Then we have the Clone Wars / flashback / Ahsoka Anakin, the one with charming expression. Not interested by any means. A lot of people were hoping we get Revenge of the Sith reissue or 2.0 with the Ahsoka series. We didn't. And now we're here. All of those figures except the Ahsoka Anakin have been released. But there's one more. We have the Star Wars Celebration exclusive artisan Darth Vader Sith Apprentice. Who cares what it's called? I honestly cringe at the term Dark Side Anakin because, I mean, realistically, he was Vader. Terminology and names don't matter to me, but that's what they're calling it. Had I not recently bought the Dark Side Anakin, I probably would feel different. I know a lot of people are very upset. This thing is limited to 2,500. 1,500 of that is already gone. It's Star Wars Celebration exclusive. The other 1,000 is said to be probably split half and half between Sideshow and other markets in Hong Kong. Nevertheless, this figure is inobtainable. I know some people are spending well over $1,000 on it. I can't judge. It's your money. I mean, if you got it like that, good for you. But it's not worth it objectively. I mean, this figure cost a fraction of that to produce, and its retail is less than half of that. But I know when we want something, we're willing to pay whatever for it. So with these 2 recent artisan releases, what is the definitive Anakin Skywalker? I'm going to be honest with you. It's neither of these. Unless you were lucky enough to hop in the queue, or unless you went to Star Wars Celebration, we've seen pictures of the scalpers, people hauling out crates of these figures, take and resell them. Unless you were lucky enough to be there in the queue or be there at Celebration and get it, this is not the definitive Anakin Skywalker because it's not readily available. It's nearly inobtainable for most collectors. Now, if you got this figure, if you purchased this from Hong Kong and paid out the wazoo for it, it's going to be your definitive Anakin Skywalker, I would believe. But this is more of a subjective take because with a character like Anakin, it's really hard to say what is definitive because you have an artisan in the mix, you have some controversy. What I think is definitive in terms of Anakin Skywalker is the one that you can readily afford, the one that is available to you, or the one you have in your collection and you're happy with. I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. It is complete BS that there is not a sculpted Anakin up for pre-order or hell even released at this point. Why are they gatekeeping this figure behind an artisan, which is honestly I could care less about artisan. They're not using leather. They're not doing as best as they can with the hair application. It's a money thing. They want to say, hey, pay a little extra money for this and look what you've got. I get it. I'm not faulting Hot Toys for it, but I don't give a shit about artisan. I don't care about rooted hair. Hell, I spend way too long futzing with my figures as it is. I don't need to style hair. I just want an updated Revenge of the Sith Anakin with that new portrait. And the reason why I bought the older figure is because I'm tired of waiting. As I said when I talked about it, you're not promised nothing. I'd rather have it for a year or 2 years and decide what I'm going to do with it then, as opposed to not having it. The fact that both of these figures are out and in some collectors' hands, and there isn't one that's mass produced, readily available to those that weren't lucky enough to get in the queue or just don't want to spend the extra 45-50% for rooted hair. The fact that that figure doesn't exist yet is just ridiculous. And I think personally, when that day comes, because I think they're going to announce a sculpted Anakin, if I would bet, I'm 99% certain. If not, then that's pretty shitty. But in my opinion, that is going to be the definitive Anakin because it is the one that anyone who wants it can have it. But I want to know what you think. What is the definitive Anakin Skywalker? Hell, it may be the Attack of the Clones version. It may be the Clone Wars version because those are your favorites. If you've got the artisan, I'm going to assume that that's your favorite and that's the one that's definitive to you. Or if you've got the older figure and you don't want to spend the money or don't care for rooted hair, those may be definitive because I'm kind of leaning toward the OG Dark Side Anakin being my definitive Anakin because I'm happy with it. I'm content. And that is really what it's all about. And that's probably the hardest thing to obtain as a Hot Toys collector or a collector in general is contentment. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think the definitive Anakin Skywalker is. Which one do you have in your collection? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, see you in the next one.